Devotional, Day 1. Seeing a lone fig tree by the road, he came to it and found nothing on it except leaves only. And he said to it, "No longer shall there be any figs from you." Matthew 21:19. Judging by appearance, Jerusalem is surely the most religious place on earth. Pious sect of all varieties, colors, and the busy sidewalks. The unique customs and rules dictate the dress, foods, habits, and values of their members in this respect. The city hasn't changed much in 2 millennium. But Jesus never judged by appearance. On Monday of his final week, Jesus and the disciples passed by a large shady fig tree. On their way into the city, Jesus was hungry and looked for some fig buds to snack on, a common tree of the day. Yet in spite of the promising leafy flourish, there were no buds, a sure sign that the tree would bear no fruit later that season. Jesus cursed the tree for being all show but no substance. It wasn't hard to pick up on Jesus' greater heartbreak. All around him in Jerusalem was an impressive appearance of spirituality, but he knew that the hearts of worshippers ached at the hypocrisy. Religious, yes, but with no heart for God. In spite of all the pious trapping of loud prayers and righteous duties, Israel was barren. Impressive outward appearance of sacred dress and legalistic lifestyles belied the fact that Israel's heart was far from God. In spite of God's outrageous favor, Israel simply bore no fruit. Jesus seemingly saw the parallel in the fig tree and in his curse, warned of God's imminent judgment on Israel. The disciples caught the message and probably felt the hot, haunting wind at their neck when they passed the tree again the next day and found it had dried up and died. Empty religious fails to impress God every time. See First Samuel 16:7 and Mark 11:12-14, 19-22, and Luke 16:15. And for everyone who does evil hates the light and does not come to the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. John 3:20. In most ways, the Jerusalem that Jesus entered on this Monday was very different from the city we experience today. But in some ways, it wasn't. In no way is this better seen than in the collisions between faith and commerce. Money changers, short changers, the pilgrims who came to the temple to worship, migrants sold clean animals that would have dragged up the temple grounds, defiling God's place of worship. Jesus displayed his authority as Messiah by properly cleaning house, just as he had done 3 years earlier. He drove out those who use worship as an opportunity for financial gain, a charade the Lord still despises. It is not written, just reminded them, "My house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations, but you have made it a robber's den." The phrase robber's den comes from Jeremiah's rebuke to those who abused God's first temple in the prophet's days. Jeremiah has stood in the temple and told the leaders to the Shalom to see what remained of the temple. Its ruins foreshadowed the destruction of the first temple. And Jesus, quoting Jeremiah, predicted the same grievous outcome for the second temple. Words and works like Jesus on this day, did little to curry the favor of the Jewish leaders. Instead, they began looking for ways to kill him. Every day Jesus taught in the temple, and steadily their anger towards him swelled. Why? Because light reveals what lurks in darkness. In the bright light of truth, Jesus was exposing the hypocrisy. If you knew that you had just 1 week to live, how would you spend it? If on Monday you knew that by Saturday night your body would be in a box and your soul would have exited the earth, what difference would it make in what you did in this next 5 days? This was a question that Jesus had to answer. Like no one else, he knew that this was his last week. And so he spent his time in 2 areas that he considered to be of paramount importance. In this final week, Jesus was tethered to the temple. He lingered inside its walls every day, jealous for his purity and protective of what went on in its courts. He spent his final days teaching, defending eternal truths, exposing errors, and inspiring faith. In this final week, Jesus also demonstrates his priority for the ones he loved to the uttermost, his disciples. He wrapped himself in humility and served them. He washed their feet. He talked and walked with them. He gave them instructions they would need to carry on without him. He listened and received love from those ones who would feel the immediate sting of his death more than anyone else. Jesus lived his final week under the crushing weight that his time had come. His long-anticipated sacrifice was imminent, so those final minutes were precious and few. The countdown has begun. See Luke 19:47 to 48, John 13:1, 5, and 31 through 35. God bless you.